What if you could power your home, your car, your entire city for free? I mean, what if energy wasn't something you had to buy, but was a universal right, just as abundant and available as the air we breathe? Well, this wasn't some sci-fi fantasy. It was the life's work of Nikola Tesla, a man who truly believed he could tap into an infinite source of power that was hiding in plain sight all around us.
You see, for Tesla, this was way bigger than just inventing a better generator. He saw humanity at a critical turning point, and he felt his mission, his destiny, was to connect us directly to what he called the wheelwork of nature, the fundamental, raw energy source of the cosmos itself.
And what was driving this huge ambition? Well, it was deeply humanitarian. Tesla looked into the future and he saw conflicts, wars fought over resources like oil and coal. He believed that if energy was free and available to everyone everywhere, then one of the main reasons for nations to go to war would just vanish. His lab work was basically a project for world peace.
Okay, so to really get a grip on Tesla's incredible, almost unbelievable machines, we have to first step into his mind. We have to see the universe the way he saw it. And trust me, his universe was very, very different from the one we learn about today. His was filled with this mysterious substance he called the ether.
So while modern physics talks about the vacuum of space, Tesla envisioned the complete opposite. To him, space wasn't empty at all. It was a plenum, totally filled with this invisible, perfect fluid, the ether. It was like a cosmic ocean, and everything, from light to gravity, moved through it. And this is where it gets really mind-bending. What is a planet, or a person, or an atom? To Tesla, it was just the ether, caught up in a tiny, super stable whirlpool. It meant that if you could somehow unwind that vortex, matter would dissolve right back into pure energy. The entire universe, in his mind, was this massive, untapped battery just waiting to be plugged into.
Now, this is where things get really juicy, because it pits Tesla directly against the titan of 20th century physics, Albert Einstein. While Einstein saw gravity as space itself bending and warping, Tesla saw it as a pressure effect happening within the ether. For Einstein, the speed of light was the ultimate cosmic speed limit. For Tesla, it was just a speed, and you could absolutely go faster. They were playing two completely different games with two completely different sets of rules. And yeah, Tesla did not hold back. This quote just shows how deeply he rejected the path modern physics was taking. He felt it was all becoming abstract math, totally disconnected from the physical real world. And this rejection of the mainstream, well, it would both fuel his unique inventions and ultimately lead to his isolation.
So, with this ether-based worldview as his foundation, what did Tesla actually plan to build? Let's take a look at how he wanted to turn all this theory into real, tangible machines designed to capture cosmic power.
This right here, this is probably his most famous or maybe infamous free energy patent. He filed it back in 1901, and it describes a device that he claimed could capture what he called radiant energy, these tiny charged particles constantly bombarding the Earth from space, and turn it into usable electricity.
The process he laid out was honestly beautifully simple. First, you have a metal plate, like an antenna, that collects charge from these cosmic particles. Second, that charge gets stored up in a capacitor. Think of it like filling a bucket with water. And third, once that bucket is full, a switch flips, and all that stored energy is released in a powerful pulse that could run a motor or a light. He claimed this process of accumulation could go on indefinitely.
But you know, collecting the power is one thing. How do you get it to everyone? That was Tesla's ultimate dream, global distribution. And this led to his most ambitious, most spectacular project, the Wardenclyffe Tower. This was meant to be the heart of a world wireless system that promised not just free energy, but a global network for instant communication, decades before the internet was even a dream.
And here's the absolute game changer, the crucial part of how he planned to send that power. Unlike his rival Marconi, who was broadcasting radio waves inefficiently through the air, Tesla planned to use the Earth itself. He believed he could pump electrical energy into the ground at just the right frequency, making the entire planet resonate like a giant bell. Then, anyone, anywhere on Earth, to just stick a rod in the ground and draw power from.
It's an incredible vision, isn't it? Just breathtaking. But did it work? And more importantly, how do these incredible ideas hold up against a century of scientific progress? It's time to bring this cosmic dream back down to Earth for a reality check. All right, let's circle back to his radiant energy receiver. This gets right to the heart of the matter. Tesla was absolutely observing a real physical phenomenon, but he completely misinterpreted the cause. What he was likely seeing was something we now call the photoelectric effect, where light itself knocks electrons off a metal plate. So he was right that energy could be captured this way, but he was wrong about the mechanism. He thought charged particles were arriving. Modern physics knows it was photons causing electrons to leave.
And here's the real kicker: efficiency. While his device could theoretically work, modern analysis shows it would only generate microwatts of power. We're talking a tiny, tiny fraction of the power you'd need to light up a single little LED, let alone power a city. His claim of indefinite accumulation just didn't hold up in the real world, with things like energy leakage and resistance.
And what happened to his grand tower? Well, its story is honestly a tragedy. Construction started in 1901, but just 2 years later, his main investor, the famous J.P. Morgan, pulled the plug. For more than a decade, it just stood there, this massive monument to a broken dream, until it was dynamited in 1917 to pay off Tesla's debts.
So why? Why did Morgan back out? The crucial reason wasn't just technical skepticism. You have to remember, Morgan had invested heavily in copper mines and the whole infrastructure for wired electricity. The idea of free, unmetered power that anyone could just tap into was a direct threat to his entire business model. I mean, think about it. You can't put a meter on the Earth.
And this really illustrates the whole paradox of Tesla's genius. He correctly predicted that cosmic rays were actually particles, not waves, and that their intensity would increase the higher you went up in the atmosphere years before this was actually proven. But because he rejected relativity, he made the huge error of believing they traveled faster than light. He was part visionary, part captive to an obsolete worldview.
So his grandest projects failed. His core theory of the ether was discarded. You might think that's the end of the story, right? Not even close. Let's see how some of Tesla's wrong ideas are actually echoing in the technology of today.
Hey, remember his idea of transmitting power by making things resonate at the same frequency? Well, guess what? That exact principle, it's called resonant inductive coupling, is the magic behind the wireless charging pads we use for our phones and even some electric cars today. The scale's way smaller, but the core concept? That is pure Tesla.
And his radiant energy receiver, well, it lives on. You can think of it as the conceptual ancestor to a modern field called energy harvesting. We now have these tiny devices that can power themselves by scavenging stray energy from ambient Wi-Fi and radio signals. It's not unlimited power, but it's the exact same fundamental idea, pulling useful energy right out of the environment.
So let's put it all together here. His radiant energy idea? Possible in theory, but the power output was minuscule. His dream of wireless power through the Earth? Impractical on a global scale, yet that core principle of resonance is now in our pockets. And while his theory of gravity was rejected, his work on cosmic rays was this fascinating mix of brilliant insight and fundamental error.
You know, maybe the best way to think of Tesla is as an unfinished Prometheus. You know, the mythical figure who stole fire from the gods for humanity. Tesla tried to steal a different kind of fire, the fire of the cosmos itself. He may have failed, but his audacious attempt continues to inspire anyone who dreams of a better, more empowered future.
So what is Nikola Tesla in the end? A flawed genius stuck in the past, or a prophet whose ideas were just too far ahead of their time? His story is just this powerful reminder that in science and innovation, the destination isn't always the point. Sometimes the questions you dare to ask and the paths you explore, even the ones that turn out to be dead ends, can end up lighting the way for everyone who comes after you.